360. I very warmly welcome all of you to this webinar on how to choose a stream in class 11. So we all know that class 10th is a crucial juncture because students are very close to choosing a stream or a subject combinations themselves, which is likely to have a major impact on whatever academic choices they make for the few years to come. So the agenda of this session is to help you to understand what are the factors that are to be kept in mind when you choose a stream for yourself. What are the different career options that each stream entails for you? And also things like what you can do if you don't find yourself fitting in any of the three streams. So I feel very happy to introduce to you our guest for today, that is Dr. Srividya Anand. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sparing your time and joining us today. I would just take one more minute to help our audience know you better. So Dr. Srividya is an organizational and social psychologist with a PhD in psychology. She holds more than 2 decades of experience in teaching psychology, both at government and private educational institutions like James Cook University, Singapore, Temasek Polytechnic, Singapore, Delhi University, and Shiv Nadar School. She specializes in career coaching and counseling, placement readiness coaching, and personal growth coaching. She started Life Vidya in 2019 to provide guidance and coaching services to students, parents, and working professionals. And she also works with students and professionals for career growth at the Harappa Foundation. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again for sparing your time for this session. And without any further ado, I would like you to take over. One little announcement for all the students who are present here, that once Dr. Srividya speaks to you for some time, we will throw open the floor for question and answers between you and Dr. Srividya. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Varithi, thank you for calling me in and to the Careers 360 team. Am I audible, all of you? Yeah, give me a thumbs up because I see boxes, 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 and I see names. So in the reactions, you can give me a thumbs up. Thank you, CJ. That's good because it's very difficult to be speaking to a monitor without names. So I'm going to ask for reactions so that I know you're with me. So it's good to see 28, 30 of us here trying to understand a little bit about careers, a little bit about how to go about selecting streams, because that's the question that we have decided to address today. So I've been working with students and youth for a long time now, started with teaching, HR consulting. And when I used to teach students, especially at the postgrad or the undergrad level, and because, you know, as a psychologist, I would take sessions which were not specific to a subject. I would take soft skills, I would take behavioral sciences, and I would find that many students are not sure why they've taken a certain course. And that's how I started to work with students, professionals, and youth on why it is important to know what courses you're taking and how can you go about choosing courses. And that's how we got in touch with Careers 360. And it's very nice to have you all here. So let me start. I'm quite excited to be here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to ask questions every now and then, and I'll ask you to put in your messages in the chat box. So I'll tell you, you know, type this or type no or type yes. Does that work for everybody? Give me a thumbs up if that works. And I'm waiting. Yeah, thank you, Mahi, Jayanti. Yeah, so let's keep this going as an interactive session because you are the ones who have to choose streams, not me. And I want to be the person who's going to be able to give you some pointers and some guidelines for that, right? Okay, so let me start with sharing my screen. I would request permission to share my screen from the host, please.
Yes, I'm given it the access.
Thank you. Can you all see my screen? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at today. We're looking at how to choose a stream in class 11. And because we're looking at this topic, I'm assuming most of you are grade 10 and below. But that's just an assumption. Some of you may be also parents and some of you may be students. So we're addressing a mixed group of people, and I'm happy to have your questions towards the end. So tell me something. If you're all here as students and you're trying to figure out what to do with careers, I'm assuming some of you are at least confused. Ki bhai karna kya hai? How do I choose a stream? What do I end up doing? Some of you must be wondering which stream will suit you. Shall I do sciences? Shall I do PCM? Shall I do PCB? I want to do humanities, but everybody tells me humanities se kuch nahi milta hai. What should I do? How many of you feel these questions are somewhere in your head? Type me in the chat box.
Ma'am, I would just like to give you a little heads up. When a student types in the chat box, it's only visible to the host. So we would rather unmute the student and let them speak.
Okay, so in that case, we'll proceed because that will take a long time. And if anybody here feels that these questions are relevant for them, just unmute and say, yes, it's relevant for you.
Or maybe you can simply use this. I'm so sorry. Maybe you can simply use the reaction button and raise your hand.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so Harshit says yes. Thank you, Varidhi, for that heads up. Oh, yes, Nancy says yes. Bani says yes, thank you. So this is the kind of questions we're going to try and answer. Mrityunjay, all right. So all of you are a little confused, if not very confused. When I was in grade 10, I was very confused, by the way. I used to wonder what stream we should take. And all of us as students, we were just looking, ki bhai, aap kya kar rahe ho? What are you doing? What should I do? Can you tell me what to do? And so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes is that I'm going to first try and answer the question of, I need more information on the streams and subjects. Okay? So let me continue with that. Does that sound good? If that sounds good, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, I can see a few reactions. Okay, thank you. So let's proceed with this. You know, streams in India and abroad also, they broadly get classified into sciences, commerce, and humanities. Now, before I get into the details of how to choose each stream, I want us all to be on an even plane of what comes under each stream, which are the typical careers. So when I say science and technology, I'm looking at PCM, which is physics, chemistry, maths, as well as PCB. And most of you will know this, but it's good to recap because it's good to know that we are all together in terms of our understanding. So all of us know of engineering and so many streams to engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, automobile engineering, and so on and so forth. And many of you would have cousins, older aunts, uncles who've been through the JEE. And many of you may be wondering or already enrolled in some coaching also. And that's how it is for engineering. It's a lot of coaching and it's a lot of entrance exams. Science and technology also includes, more recently, artificial intelligence and robotics. The most upcoming field, almost everybody wants to be part of it who loves technology. Data sciences, we all know about it. Every time that you're even picking up your cell phone or you're picking up anything, there's data that's being transmitted. So be it big data or just data sciences per se, anybody who loves to churn data, see what sense it's making, see what analysis is showing us is good for data sciences. Programming and coding, it's been going on for many years. How many of you enjoy coding or have learned coding out here? Give me a thumbs up. Bani loves it. All right. Thank you. Shubham. All right. And Jayant, thank you. Thank you for that. So for those of you who like programming and coding, or you've learned a little bit, you know enough about this, and everybody knows that there is a lot of career opportunity for programming and coding. In fact, when you're getting into AI or you're going to get into big data also, you need to be pretty good with programming and coding. Of course, you may be a software developer or a programmer and not be doing AI. That's of course there, which is the more traditional forms of software development. And as we're all on the internet, we all know that cyber safety is a critical occupation these days. Being able to hack ethically is very important to make sure that cyber crimes are reduced. So for those of us who love technology, these are the areas that we may want to look at. So if any of these seem like something you want to do, just put it on the side. You know, keep a notepad. I forgot to tell you, just keep a notepad because I'm going to ask you to note down a few things. So see if any of these resonate with you or you know somebody who's doing this. Apart from this, if you're in sciences, you can just be a research scientist and there's no just to it. What I mean to say is that that has always been the case. So you could be a physicist, you could be somebody who's done a PhD in chemistry, biochemistry, and so on and so forth. So whatever subject you love, you go on and do a PhD in that. And if you continue with that, you can become a research scientist there. And then we have medical, which many of you know about. We have the allied medical sciences. We have forensics, which is all about, fingerprinting, criminal investigation. We have epidemiologists. We have alternate healthcare, agricultural scientists, biomedical engineering. Now, if you see this slide, in the beginning, the green ones are really to do with what is considered PCM related, physics, chemistry, maths related. So if you are interested in any of the top 4, you're looking at physics, chemistry, maths as your subject combination. The ones below are PCB, physics, chemistry, biology. And you know what is really upcoming these days, which people don't talk about a lot? Environmental sciences, waste management. Again, you need PCB to be able to do this. I see that there are a couple of hands up. Do you want me to take questions right now or later? Are these questions or are these, yeah? Anybody? Oh, all hands are down. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go over the structure of the presentation a little bit, note down your questions, and then we'll address them in a bit. Is that okay? Give me a thumbs up if that sounds good to you. All right, thank you, Shubham. Okay, so on science and technology, this is not the whole host of careers. This is indicative. So when I say allied medical sciences, we're looking at vets, dentists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, a whole host of them. And why is alternative healthcare or epidemiology so important these days? I think with the COVID pandemic, we all know that we need epidemiologists, we need public health specialists. And a lot of people have such difficult or demanding lifestyles that mainstream or what is considered allopathic medicine now is not helping them in the long run. So Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy, all of these come under the ambit of alternative healthcare. And there are proper bachelors, the equivalent of the MBBS degrees. So there will be a bachelor's in homeopathic sciences and in Ayurveda colleges, which are provided in many, many universities, both private and government universities. The other thing that people haven't talked about much, but I think again, COVID has brought it to light, is that we do need good quality agricultural scientists, people who are able to understand how you can increase produce without increasing the pollutant at the genetic level, or organic farming. And there isn't enough work happening there because, we face pollution every year. Why? Because of crop burning. Why is this polluting? Because the genetic structure of the wheat has been modified. So there's a lot of work for agricultural scientists also. And people don't. When they think of science, they don't think of these. They think of engineering mostly, and they think of medical. These are known. Think a little bit more because there's a lot coming up. And this is just an indicative list. I'll proceed at this point because we have a lot to cover and I want to give you many guidelines to what is commerce offering. And what is it that you can do as a professional if you're in commerce? When you say commerce, essentially we're looking at business or finance related. So we all know chartered accountancy. Everybody knows about it. It's difficult. You have to enroll in it right after school. You should have a good base in maths. And there are a series of exams that are need to be given. Most people get into coaching. Yes, once you are a chartered accountant, you do have a pretty bright future. You can be employed in big organizations, or you can be working on your own after a certain point in time. All of the last 10 years, so much focus has gone into investments. It wasn't the case 2 decades back. And now you have investment analysts, you have investment firms, you have organizations providing investment advisory services. So if growing money and providing your client base with better returns based on passive income, investment would be passive income, is something that interests you, then investment, being an advisor and an analyst, is something you can look at. Then we have actuaries. Not many people talk about them. So who are they? People with a splendid head for numbers, by the way. People who love to work with data. People who love a little bit of coding, because a lot of it does require coding. What are they doing? They are working with large business houses to try to ensure how we can reduce risks. What are the different ways in which you can reduce the risk that an organization engages in or is exposed to when they are making investments or they're doing different types of things? Very competitive. It has a set of very, very technical exams. And yes, like the CA, at every level you clear and you go forward, very well paid and just not well known. So you get employed with the big 5 organizations. And if you are an established actuary, you can actually take off on your own also. The rest of them you may be a little bit more familiar with. We have business analysts, business finance, company secretaries. Do you see there's a whole host of different types of professions that you can engage in if you take commerce. So when people ask, commerce nahi lena chahiye, science lete hain, sare options hum rakhte hain. How many of you feel that this is a good strategy? Let's take science. It doesn't matter what I'm going to do. Let me keep all my options open. How many of you feel that this is a good strategy to take? Please raise your hands. Varsha, Disha, who else? Okay, thank you for your responses, Varsha and Disha. So yes, Shubham, do. What science does is that it keeps your options open. And when we are in grade 9 and 10 and we are moving into 11 and we don't know what we are going to do, we want to keep our options open. But what science also does is that it has a heavy syllabus. And many students end up taking science and not really enjoying it and hoping that somehow they'll get through 11th and 12th grade and then move into a totally different stream. So yes, science keeps your options open, but provided you are a person who wants to work in a field that needs that skill or that knowledge, provided you have a scientific temper, keeping options open just for the sake of keeping options open is a journey of 2 years of a lot of studying of subjects that you may not enjoy. So think about it before you use that as a strategy. Because what's happening now is that there are so many careers available that that particular mindset of engineering kar lo, sare options open hote hain is not that relevant. This mindset was useful 2-3 decades back, maybe even before that. But today it's losing its relevance. And that's one thing I just want you to keep in your mind so that you understand what you want to do before you start spending so many hours studying subjects that you may not like. But if you like physics, you like chemistry, you like bio, go ahead and study. So the rest of these, for instance, you can be in the banking industry, you can study supply chain and logistics, you can be in insurance. All of these are related to commerce. So take a look and see if any of these excite you. If they do, then maybe commerce is a stream that you may be looking at. Chicken. Now let me proceed. How many of us here feel that humanities जाने से कुछ होता ही नहीं है? It's a dead end. Raise your hands, please. Any of us here who feel that, humanities is just not going to work? If I take humanities, I'm going to be left with no options. Nobody here? Okay, I'm surprised, but I'm also pleasantly surprised. It just means that you are such a well-read and informed audience, and that's good because that can bring up the quality and the inputs that I can give in my webinar. So the next bit is about, if I take humanities, what all can I do? Again, the ones that I'm showing up in the beginning are the ones that we've always been doing. So civil services, everybody knows about. Many people who take up humanities try for the civil services. So that's the IAS cadre of services. What people don't know enough about is Indian economic services. Look it up. So that's economists who work for the government. Law, most people know about. Thanks to the pandemic, mental health and psychology has come to the forefront big time. It wasn't talked about so much before. In fact, people would not take up psychology so easily. But nowadays, I see a whole trend of people moving into psychology. Then you have sociologists, you have social workers. These are usually working with NGOs, UN, and they also work, for instance, in the corporate social responsibility units in corporate organizations. Those of you who like writing, content is king these days. Those of you who like communicating, storytelling, there are individuals who just call themselves storytellers, and they're not only telling you, mystery stories or fables or Jataka tales. They're telling you stories about life and stories that teach you certain things. And it's the art of communication that they have. And for those of us who love design, you can be a designer if you go through technology. You do user interface design and product design, automobile design. You can also be a designer if you come through humanities, in which case you will get into maybe graphics, content, website design, textile design, furniture design, all of those wherein you're looking more at the aesthetics rather than the technology-based functionality. That becomes the difference in your orientation. And then, of course, there's marketing, there's sales. We can become brand managers. Some of us who like to cook can get into culinary art. There's hospitality. There's a whole host of social entrepreneurs. And for those of us who feel that usme paisa nahi hai, there is funding that is available these days because a lot of people want to work for social causes. So think about that. Those of you who want to make a difference, you may want to look at that. Customer service has always been there, and the education industry is available to all three: science, commerce, as well as humanities. And again, this is not the entire list. This is an indicative list. There are studies on sustainability, urban planning, public policy. There's a lot. Okay. Are you somewhat satisfied with what comes under each stream? If you are, then give me a little bit of a thumbs up. I mean somewhat satisfied, huh? Because I can't do a lot of satisfaction in 10, 15 minutes. Somewhat satisfied. Bani is giving me a heart. Oh, I love that. Anybody else? Yes, Mrityunjay, Vivo. All right. Fine. So in your head and in your notebook, which you have, like, a small scribble pad, just note down occupations out of all of these that seem to interest you. Just there. Okay. Now, I'm not the kind of person who keeps talking. The truth is that we can choose a career based on what are the options, what does it do for us in the future, or we can also choose a career based on what is it that we like doing. And a little bit of a mix of the two. So as I don't want to keep speaking, I'm going to stop my share and restart it. And for 5 minutes, we're going to watch a movie. Does that work for you? Bharati, does that work for time management?
Yes, I think we can run
Yeah?
a movie. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so this is a snip. Many of you would have seen this. And basically, we're just looking at how in India we choose careers in very different ways. Just take a look. Okay, so I know that's Bollywood, but sometimes Bollywood does mirror real life. And the reason why I showed you this clip is because I remember teaching a bunch of 450 computer science engineers, and I was teaching them career planning at the end of their course, trying to get them ready for their interviews. And, you know, I was all ready to help them with their interviewing skills and all of that. And it's a pretty good institute. It had 1 semester abroad. The students had, some of them had taken loans. And I found that only 40 or 50 of them actually wanted to pursue a career in computer science. And this is India. And this is a premier institute. So, because of my background, what I started to believe in is that we need a model that helps us understand how we can choose careers. So currently, this is what we do. And this is very essential. All of us, we want a good lifestyle. How many of us want money in our career? I do. And the first thing we ask, or the first thing even parents ask, the first thing that teachers also ask is that if we choose a career, what is the salary we'll draw? Starting salary kya hai? Growth hoti hai kya? So one parameter to choose is money. The second is, what will my peers think of me if I take this up? Will they think it's cool? Will they think I'm great? What will they think of me? The other thing is, what is it that my family wants? Because just like in that movie, it's our family that is so important to us. We want to make our parents proud. I mean, there are so many dreams that are attached to our subjects, what we take on. So yes, family, what they allow, what they feel good about is such an important factor. The other thing is, you know, the brand, the status of the course, the career, again, very important. Growth, very important, because we all want to grow. None of us want to stagnate. And then we say, listen, is this career mainstream? For some of us, this is very important because mainstream means that there is security, there is safety in numbers, it's established, it's been there for a while, people know about it. That's what mainstream means, which means there's a lot of, you know, when you talk to people or you even think that I'm choosing this career, you feel more secure about it. So this is one more thing that I have seen, and stability. Very important because we want a career which provides us stable income, stable job. Nobody wants to be jobless. Nobody wants to be in a situation wherein you've done a course, you work for 2-3 years, and then you find that the industry is shutting down. Ye kya hua? Itni padhai kyun ki? All very relevant, important factors. How many of you feel that these factors are very important and relevant while choosing a career? Give me a thumbs up, or yeah, just raise your hand, whatever you feel. I just want a reaction. Great. Thank you. Thank you for your reactions. Thank you, Tazeen. I see reactions from Tazeen. All right. Jayanti, Ayush, Ashi. All right. Great. So the only bit that I want to add here, because we are coming from a psychological lens also, is that thoda sa, all of these factors, no, they're of the environment. What gives money is not based on what you can control. All I'm suggesting is that when you're looking at a career, look a little bit into who you are, what your personality is, what is your disposition, what is it that you like to do. थोड़ा सा अंदर भी झांकना है. What is it that interests you? Because you see, you have to get up and you have to want to do it every day. तभी तो वो career stable होगा, and that's how you will grow. If you're not interested, you won't grow, na? And you have the skills. So if you want to become a chartered accountant, do you like to be talking about numbers and working on data all the time? It's a question that you need to ask yourself. And the other thing is, does it motivate you? Like if you were to look back and say that, okay, I've done this for 20 years of my life, will you feel that that was a life well lived? That was a career that I enjoyed. And then what I'm trying to share with you is that isko na dynamically integrate karo. All the environmental factors and all the individual factors. And try to pick careers that are a good match of the two. How many of you feel that this kind of a process is new and can be useful for you? Look at it and give me a thumbs up if you find that this was new for you or this was useful. Thanks, Mahi. That helps to know. Divya, Purnima, Kazim. Yes, it also tells me that you're listening and I'm not talking to only a blank screen. So for those of us who are wondering, how do I choose careers? What are the factors? These are some of the factors. The ones that are on the right, we all know about. The ones that are on the other side, personality, career interest, requires you to become a little bit more self-aware of your own interests. And if you can integrate and merge the two, the chances of you having career satisfaction is much higher. So then you work backwards. So I want to do something in hospitality, hence what courses can I take? What stream should I take? I want to become somebody who does public health. COVID के time बहुत problem हो गई थी, hospitals नहीं मिल रहे थे. Hence, what subjects can I take? Start working backwards. And then you will find meaning in the subjects that you're studying every day. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to skip this because this is an activity and this is going to take a little bit of time. In fact, I'm going to stop my share here and I'm going to ask if there are any specific questions at this time that you have. Or if you want me to proceed and do the interactive question, I'm happy to do that also. But we are at 5:40 and I want to address what is it that you need. So let me know. How many of you want to ask questions?
Yes.
Just raise your hand.
Yeah. We see some hands up. And the Pandita, can we take the first question? Yash?
Yes, please unmute yourself, Yash.
Yash?
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to take up my career in ethical hacking. But I am also interested in particle physics. What should I do?
So I can see a blank screen which says Yash Chauhan with a hand raised. Go back. How will I tell you what can you do? They are both great careers. Go back, Yash. Ask yourself, why do you want to do ethical hacking? List it down. What interests you about it? And this is for everybody. If you want to do something, write down why do you want to do it. So particle physics, why? Ethical hacking, why? What do you enjoy? Then, Yash, the next thing you need to do is figure out what is it that you need to study to become a particle physicist and how many years it will take. Typically a PhD in physics. if you want to become a really good particle physicist. And if you want to become an ethical hacker, how many years of study is it going to take you? Then you need to see how much time you're willing to invest. And then you need to see what is the lifestyle or a remuneration. A particle physicist is somebody who will typically get into research, teaching, lecturing, high level of research. How much? What are they doing? What are currently particle physicists doing? How are they living? And what is the lifestyle of an ethical hacker? What is the everyday life of an ethical hacker? Look at this and then say, if I am Yash, what do I want to do? And keep that paper ready for you. Right now, if you're in grade, which grade are you in, Yash?
10th.
10th. So if you're in grade 10, technically, if you take physics, chemistry, and maths, and computer science, both options are available to you. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you need to do is you need to research, Yash, and figure out as to which out of these two will engage you or seem more interesting to you, seem more practical to you. Go back to that model. What is it that Yash really likes doing? What interests him? Does he have the skills? How much remuneration? Where is the kind of growth that you're looking at? And then see which out of these two seems more your calling. That's the exercise you need to do, Yash. Sitting here, looking at your screen and your name, I can't tell you do this. Ethical hacking is beautiful. So is particle physics. Lifestyles are very different. One is a relatively new field. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of cyber safety. There are lots of upcoming opportunities in ethical hacking. But particle physics is not that well known, and there must be a whole host of research that you can do. So one will have less number of people. Demand supply gap hoga particle physicist में. Ethical hacking में तो बहुत सारे बच्चे आ रहे. So questions that I think I would like to share here with most students is that, just give me a second. Some tips that I want to give all of you actually is that when you are choosing a career, think about specific questions like this one. What do you do when you forget time? बैठे बैठे कुछ कर रहे हो, कोडिंग कर रहे हो, टाइम भूल जाते हो यश करते करते कि कितना टाइम हो गया है. Are you there, Yash? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
And also make that table. You don't need to decide today. What you need to do today is to sit down and reflect and do that research piece. And one thing I don't want students from today's webinar to do is to go ask somebody else, what is it that I should become? And only take a decision based on that. It's one of the questions. So if you're asking me, what is more exciting and upcoming? Ethical hacking, upcoming, recent. But किसको particle physics समझ में आता है, उसको ethical hacking, that's a choice you have to make, Yash.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I answer your question a little bit? Or if you have a follow-up question, I'm happy to take it up.
No, ma'am. I have no further queries.
Okay. We have Jayant. Jayant, would you like to unmute yourself?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding choosing my career. Ma'am, I'm sometimes very depressed about choosing.
Okay. You're in which grade, Jayant?
Ma'am, I'm in class 10.
You're in class 10. And you, okay. Why? What is it that you enjoy doing, Jayant?
Ma'am, I love to play cricket.
You love to play cricket. What else do you enjoy doing?
Ma'am, I love to do coding.
Do you see that both of these can actually become professions?
Yes, ma'am.
Simple cheese hai. Ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? Which particular occupation will give me the lifestyle or the money that I need? And how much time can I invest in that? So yes, cricketing is something that you really enjoy. And you said that you were feeling a little low. That I think is because the number of cricketing opportunities in the last 2 years have become less because of the pandemic. Start playing. Make sure that even if you are in grade 10 or 11, spend at least a few hours in a week playing. That's very important for your mental health, Jayant. And always have plan A and plan B. So if cricket is your passion and you're not sure about cricket as an occupation and you enjoy coding, yes, have plan A and have plan B. You may have a plan C also. And work at it a little bit every day. Don't just sit down and say, I'm feeling low, I can't do it. Start attacking the problem bit by bit. And you will find that soon you have an answer to your question. I can give you process data. But the questions and the answers you need to work through as you move along. Does that help you, Jayant?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your question, Jayant.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who else? I can't see any other hands.
Yes, ma'am, there's a question from Mahi.
Yes.
Please unmute yourself, Mahi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I just gave my boards a week ago, and I'm very confused about which stream should I take. Should I take commerce or I should take science? Because I'm good at maths as well as at science. So I'm very confused about it. Which one should I take and which will give me more opportunities?
So if you're looking at the breadth of opportunity, science gives you all opportunities. So for instance, if we were to go back to this particular slide, which talks of technology, the science-based opportunities are all here. Okay? So if you like maths and if you like science, and if you feel that coding, engineering, AI, robotics, hacking, any of these could be interesting for you, and you're willing to put in hours of effort every day, that discipline of studies you have, then go ahead. Science may be your calling. The question that most students ask, just like Mahi, and I love this question, is, I'm good at this as well as this, what should I take? So I'm asking you to flip the question. What do you want to become, Mahi? What career interests you, Mahi? Do you have any role models? I mean, have you ever come across people who are doing things that you find very exciting and you think that, oh gosh, I wanted to do this or I want to do this? Does that ever happen, Mahi?
No, miss, not exactly.
Not exactly.
But in commerce, I thought that I could do CA, but now it kind of feels challenging. And in science, I thought about medical, but in both the thing, we have to study a lot. So I'm just confused as to which I should opt for.
So both CA and medical requires intensive studies. Now, देखो, question intensive studies का नहीं है actually, Mahi. आपका question है, मैं इतना पढ़ पाऊंगी, है ना? Now, if it is something that you find that you are motivated towards, आप 10 घंटे भी पढ़ लोगे दिन में, पढ़ लोगे कि नहीं? But if you're doing it without a real reason कि मैं क्यों करना चाहती हूँ ये, फिर 2 घंटे भी मुश्किल हो जाएगा. So Mahi, if you like, go do one thing. Go read up what do chartered accountants do. Do you find their role exciting? Because when you have to sit and prepare for those competitive exams now, you have to feel motivated to work every day, whether it's a medical field or it's a chartered accountancy field. So you should feel that when I give this competitive exam, I will want to become a doctor or I will want to become a CA. तभी तो आप competitive exam के लिए पढ़ पाओगे. The why is very important, Mahi. So I would say थोड़ा और अपने अंदर झांको कि आपको क्या अच्छा लगता है. So rather than saying I'm good at it, वो तो आपका skills and abilities हो गया कि you're good at it. अभी आप सोचो कि at what point in time do I feel very happy, very energized when I'm doing something? What am I doing then? That's one clue to what you like. Is there a follow-up question, Mahi? Does that help you a little bit?
Yes, miss.
What I want you to do, Mahi, is that spend a little bit of time reflecting every day कि what is it that I really enjoy doing? मुझे किस चीज में मजा आता है और वो काम कम लगता है. And थोड़ा सा उसके साथ आपको clarity मिलेगी. ठीक है?
Yes, miss. Thank you, miss.
Most welcome. Yes, who's next? Gitika.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
So I actually have two questions. I hope that's okay.
All good.
So I'm interested in pursuing psychology and I'm confused as to which stream I should take in order to do that.
So why do you want to do psychology? Gitika, why do you want to do psychology?
I can't unmute.
You
Am
can.
I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Yes, so I'm interested in psychology because I find it to be a really interesting subject and I want to study about what goes on inside people's mind when they take important decisions and how trauma cycles work, and I just find it really interesting and I feel like that's the best career for myself. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
So psychology in terms of university admissions, no, it's open to all streams. So you can take psychology as an optional subject, whether you take science, commerce, or humanities. Most schools offer it as a combination. So firstly, check if your school is offering it in all streams. Okay? Now, depending on what your orientation is, sometimes studying biology is very useful to understand neuroscience, psychology, cognitive behavior therapies. Partly psychology is biology also. So there is a certain advantage in having a biology base for psychology. Having said that, humanities is good also because most universities offer you a bachelor's of arts honors in psychology. So if you switch from a science to a humanities course, वो आपका एक percentage भी काट देते हैं. So if you're looking at it from a subject combination, I would say actually studying biology and psychology as a combination is very good in terms of your learning, Gitika. But because of the way university selections are, the universities that give you a BA honors in psychology will prefer that you come from a humanities background, or you should be okay with that couple of percentage cut to take admission, because anyway, most of these are entrance based. Now, there are colleges in the south of India which give you a BSc in psychology, in which case there is no percentage cut. So it's not a straightforward answer, but it's a realistic answer I'm giving you. For your technical understanding of the subject, a combination of bio and psych works very well. For admissions in the north, coming from humanities works well. Yeah. I hope that didn't confuse you further. Did that?
It didn't confuse me. I did get some clarity. I'm mostly looking for applying abroad.
Okay.
So do you think it would be better for me to take humanities with psychology or PCB psychology?
So now is my follow-up question. Do you like to study physics, chemistry, and biology? Do you like those subjects? Because they become very complicated at the 11th and 12th?
I do enjoy sciences.
You do enjoy sciences. So if you do enjoy sciences, then it's a good combination to take, Kitika. PCB and psychology is a good combination to take. It's a lot of work. So just be mentally prepared for that.
Okay,
Because the number of options of psychology that you will study later, you may be able to take up the ones that have a physiological base also, if you have that temper. Okay?
Okay. And my last question is, what's the difference between psychology and psychiatry?
That's a very good question, and it's often asked. So psychiatry is basically an MBBS degree followed by an MD in psychiatry. So if you want to be a psychiatrist, you have to give the NEET in India or the equivalent of the medical exam wherever you want to go. You have to join and get your equivalent of the MBBS degree. And at the MD level, you specialize in psychiatry. What that does at the practice level is that you are in a position to prescribe medications to people who have mental health issues and challenges. So that's psychiatrist. Now, what a psychologist does, and because you've talked of psychiatrist, the parallel is a clinical psychologist. So what a clinical psychologist does is that the person follows a bachelor's in psychology followed by a master's and typically does a PhD or a DPsych in clinical psychology. They are more interested in treating, providing therapy, behavior modification, counseling, but they don't prescribe drugs. So you have to see what is your leaning. If you want to help people who have mental health issues, are you more interested in giving the drugs, prescribing them, and helping them, get symptomatic relief? Or are you interested in getting into detailed therapy and counseling? If it's the doctor route, prescribing drugs, that's psychiatrist. If it is the one wherein you want to do more of therapy and counseling, it's psychologist.
Okay, ma'am. It's clear.
All right. Thank you, Ritika.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am, 1 second, please. We have a couple of hands up, and we would like to conclude it in another 10 minutes because we have another session.
Sure.
So everyone who's yet to ask their questions, I would request you all to ask if you have more than one question to ask, please ask your priority question first, and the rest of the questions you can mail us, and we'll get back to you. All right, because we want everyone to get a fair chance to ask. Next question from Vani, please.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Bani.
Am I
Bani, I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, can we move to the next till Bani is sorting out her audio? Harshit.
Harshit, would you like to ask
Good
a
evening,
question? Good evening, Harshit.
Ma'am, I'm a NEET aspirant. I want to become a doctor. And I want to become a cardiac surgeon. So after completing MBBS, followed that, what degree can I study, ma'am?
You have to get into the MD in surgery and then specialize in cardiac surgery. So first do your MBBS and then do so well that you get into an MD in surgery, especially cardiac surgery. So prepare for your NEET, do PCB, prepare for your NEET if you're planning to do it in India, and do very well. And, then go on to take on surgery, and then also the specialized surgical options, which should be available in the universities or the colleges or the hospitals that you are planning to study further. But first do your MBBS.
Yeah. What, ma'am? Can't understand.
I said first do your MBBS, and once you've completed your MBBS, you apply for an MD in that area, which is your next level course. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Next question from CG.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
Are you
CG.
able
There is a disturbance, CG. I'm not able to understand.
can you out here, ma'am?
The audio is not clear, CG.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I am a NEET aspirant, ma'am. And even I thought of becoming working in field of agriculture, ma'am, agriculture science. So now my first preference is for NEET exam, ma'am. So what shall I do, ma'am? Now I am in class 10th, ma'am. 10th.
Okay, so I didn't get the last part of your question, but I understand that you are interested in agricultural science as well as NEET. So simple enough, you please take PCB in your grade 11 and 12, and please prepare for your NEET. And even if by chance the NEET thing doesn't go through or you change your mind, go on to do a BSc in botany. There are agricultural science courses at the master's level available. You can go ahead and proceed in agricultural science. Your specialization that you need to take at the streams is the same. It's PCB, CG.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome. Yes, the next question, please.
Next from Abhi.
Yes, Abhi. Abhi, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, he's not unmuting. Can we move ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. Rabani.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Rabani.
Ma'am, I'm interested in pursuing medical. So after 12th, I want to continue my studies in abroad. So do I have to give both exams, NEET and MCAT, or just one?
If you want to study abroad, then you fulfill the criteria for going abroad. If you want to anyway give NEET as a backup, you can give it. But it depends on where you want to study. So see, for any course and in any geography, you have to prepare for the entrance for that course in that geography, if you're very clear about it. So if you're very clear, I want to go abroad only, then please give the entrance, give the exams and prepare for that. If you want to have a backup, then NEET is there as a preparation, but NEET is far more competitive. So it's not really a backup.
Yeah, I want to go to US for the studies.
Yeah, so then just follow the process for doing medical science in the US. If that's what you want to do, and please do physics, chemistry, biology at your higher level.
So is it compulsory to give NEET also?
No, see, you have to check the university's admission guidelines where you're applying. It's a very specific question, Rabani. Usually, a university will not look at NEET scores. NEET is an Indian, it's the national exam, right? You want to go abroad. So the Indian national exam is not going to hold for that. You have to follow the criteria for the medical school. So what you should do is check up which are the universities that you need to go to. Check up what is their criteria. Give those exams. Make sure you get good scores in that. If you want a scholarship, make sure you're applying for that. And that's how you proceed.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
We will take the last two questions now. Anurag, can we take your question?
Ma'am, my name is Anurag.
Hi, Anurag.
Ma'am, my question was that I want to become a software engineer. So, ma'am, in 11, 12, what should I take? Like a PCB or I'm just confused.
So usually software engineers take PCM and computer science as an optional subject, and they go on. And if you want to do it through the engineering route, because that's software engineer, you do a BTech or a BE in computer engineering, and you proceed from there. That's the most mainstream way of doing it. Yeah, does that help you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Most welcome. Yes.
Next, we will take Ashi's question.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm
There's a disturbance at your end, Ashi. We are not able to hear you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening,
Can you hear
Ashi.
me? Ma'am, actually, I was having one doubt that after I want to appear for NEET. After, if I can't clear the NEET exam, after that, what I have, which plan I should have as a backup plan?
Look at all the allied medical fields. If you don't want to give the NEET again, a lot of people give it again, but if you don't want to, then look at physiotherapy, look at veterinary services, which is again the NEET, but at a lower level. You can look at all health related, you can look at alternative healthcare. So if you're interested in becoming a doctor, then look at alternative healthcare also, because you will still be a doctor. So essentially look at the allied fields. Otherwise, you can look at biotech, biomedical engineering, bioinformatics. You can do a bachelor's in zoology. You can do something in public health. There are a host of options, Ashi. So
Okay,
don't worry.
ma'am. But if ma'am, giving NEET, if we can't clear, so it will be a waste of time. No.
So you will need to invest your time if you want to clear an exam. It's a plan that you're making. Now, if you clear it, very good. You go on to study and become a doctor. If you don't clear it, then you go ahead and do something else. So ask yourself if you're willing to put in that effort. Because if you really want to become a doctor, you should be willing to put in that effort.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ashi.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for putting across your questions. If any of your questions has been left unanswered, please mail it to us at info@careers360.com, and one of our team members will get back to you with answers. We are running a little short on time, and which is why we will have to conclude the session. So thank you so much, Srividya ma'am, for addressing the queries that our students had, and I'm very sure that it was immensely beneficial and helpful to everyone who attended. And all the students who are attending, I would like to inform you that we have a series of informative and advisory webinars planned for you. Please stay tuned to careers360.com/premium for information about our upcoming webinars. They should be of much help to you, so please do attend as and when they are scheduled. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much, Sridhar, once again. All the very best to all of you. And
Thank you. Thank you so much, Varithi, and thank you to the Careers 360 team, and best wishes to the students here.
Thank you. And we would like to end the meeting now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.